Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Round. Today it's time for more plane reviews. This video is probably going to be a bit late, and also maybe a bit shorter than you might otherwise like. I apologize for that, but I'm really having a problem with time crunch because I'm working on a web development project, that Kerbal Save Sharing thing for the combat thing. I'm also working on school projects, of course, and other such things. So we're starting right away with the Bewl Kit Mark II. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's the apparently the German word for agility. It's a super fast, super maneuverable stunt plane, stable at any speed with SAS. Yeah, I'll be testing that. And recommends the creator recommends that you use fine controls and trim to adjust the altitude at high speed. And yes, this, unfortunately this is going to clip with that, and I don't like that, but it does look very cool. It does look very cool. Just don't use extreme yaw control, which you probably shouldn't do anyhow, except it's a stunt plane. So you probably should, because, doing stupid stunts. But yeah, it's using the medium gear. That's interesting. I believe this is an all-stock craft. Yes, this is all-stock. It's the only all-stock craft. No, it's one of two all-stock craft today. This is by Shannon, by the way. And hey, look, there's the things I said there. And 2 taps of trim to adjust altitude. 1 or 2. You won't stall out, but straight and level could turn into a 90-degree climb rapidly with 1 tap at high speeds. Rear-facing intakes prevent the engines from flaming out while doing low-speed, high-angle of attack maneuvers. It will never go into a non-recoverable stall, guaranteed. And 1 to toggle the afterburners. So going back briefly for a moment on what I said at the beginning of this video, this will take off really quickly. Alright, cool. What was I going to say? So, the Kerbal Save Sharing system thing is a work in progress. I'm just going to... There we go. I've enabled fine controls like recommended, and I have SAS on. I'm going to go ahead and activate the afterburners, because let's get going fast. I mean, come on. It says it's good for speed. Let's go ahead and go for speed. What was I going to say? Okay, so Kerbal Save Sharing. Yeah, that's the thing that I was working on for the combat series. That's coming along nicely. Hopefully we'll get to some real... we're starting a little bit of testing right now. Hopefully everything goes well. There's already a couple of bugs to fix, but this video is not really supposed to be about that, but I figured I'd fill time while this is going faster and faster talking about that, because chances are you care about that as well. If you're here for this, you're here for that. That will... I'm gonna hesitantly hopefully say that might start in a month, maybe a little less, because things are going really well. And also, when you say stable, did you mean jittery? Because it's pretty jittery. Yeah. That may have something to do with my settings, though, because there's a setting for, what's it called? The time... what's it called? The time step before it'll slow down time. I believe I have mine set relatively higher than normal, than the default, so that could be affecting it. I like how it's got this slight roll... excuse me, this slight roll oscillation going on here. And let's test how sturdy it is. Wow. Very sturdy. I honestly was expecting it to break apart right then. Most craft, when you do that, will break apart. If this is real life, John Rim there would be dead. How many G's was that? 3.5? Yeah, nah, you're smoking something, KSP. That was not 3.5 G's. That was 800 meters per second to 200 meters per second in... freaking like a second, maybe a little less than a second. That is not... That is like a 600 meters per second acceleration. Like, let's say 600 meters per second was the acceleration, like flat up. Let's say it was over a second. Let's be generous and say 300 meters per second. So 600 over 2 seconds. That would be times 3.6. That would be 600 kilometers per hour. 600 something kilometers per hour. No, 900 something kilometers per hour. Increase in speed in 1 second, and 900 kilometers per hour is... Actually, wait, no, meters per second. Gravity is 9.8 meters per second, right? 9.8 meters per second, I want to say. So that's going back to meters per second, which is where I should have started. 300, let's say divide by 10, let's be generous and say gravity is higher than it is. That's 30 Gs. 30 Gs, not 3 Gs, 30 Gs. That's a lot. Also, I have something on the runway there that just spontaneously exploded itself. I have no idea what that was. F86 modded. Oh, I had an F86 from the last review still sitting on the runway. Wow, this thing can maintain a pretty good speed in a turn. Like, I did a pretty extreme turn there and maintained good speed. Anyhow, I'm gonna go take it through the Space Center a bit. And, oh yes, because it has this cockpit, we have, like, no visibility from inside. So, imagine trying to do stunts with that kind of visibility. Yeah, you would not last long, I have a feeling. Right, let's do some extreme yaw, just because we can. And going over the VAB. I'm just gonna like park it midair over the VAB. This thing is so maneuverable that you could probably just like, if you wanted to, you could probably like land it by doing some sort of crazy super maneuverability thing like right above the landing pad you want to land on. Like this could be a VTOL without actually VTOLing. Like, I mean, without having a separate motor for that. You know, without having systems designed for VTOL, you probably could VTOL land this. Especially if there was an action group to cut the engines. If there's an action group to cut the engines, then you definitely could. But I don't think there is one. Also, you might have noticed, yes, I've put the landing gear out. I fully intend to fail right here. But we survived, so it's all good. And let's take a look at the damage percentage. 79%. And because I know someone's going to end up asking, that is Kerbal Crash System. That is the name of the mod that lets the craft get deformed and damaged like that. And you can see there's fuel, well, intake air leaking out of that intake because it doesn't know the difference between intake air and a resource that's actually stored. Next up, we have the Havilland Venom, which I thought it was the Havilland Venom 2. I was wrong, though. It is by someone going by the name of Breadwhistle. This craft actually came from Kerbal X. So the thing with Kerbal X is they had this feature for having an open hangar, a hangar that you could have, well, they call hangars like a collection of craft hangars, and they had this thing where you could have anyone add planes to your hangar, and I set that up to do plane reviews as a test, but it didn't work, so I kind of abandoned and forgot about it, but apparently people stumbled across it enough and submitted enough things, and it did actually start working to where there was some craft there, and this is where that came from. This is apparently based on a de Havilland DH-112 Venom, a British post-war single-engined jet aircraft developed from the Vampire. Oh, hey, I've seen the Vampire. I've seen someone sent in a Vampire a long time ago. But yes, this is new and unique. The reason I specifically mention it being new and unique is that I forgot I had those planes there. You know what? Let me go remove them first. Oh, it's loaded. Yeah, the game won't tell me that the game's loaded for some reason. That's kind of strange. Anyhow, the reason I mention it specifically being a new design... Oh good, it gets up to speed quite quickly. I was afraid it wouldn't. Oh, that's 4 engines in there. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, this is accelerating a lot quicker than one of these engines should have any right to. But yes, massively clipped engines will accelerate, of course, faster. Yeah. Anyhow, so, yeah, I was gonna say something about... Oh yes, I was saying new and interesting because, whoa, that is, not good. Alright, I think I've killed us already. That's a problem, especially because I can't revert this. Mystery goo containment unit ruined. Yeah, see, I can't revert this. Anyhow, yeah, someone pointed out something that I'm definitely gonna try to start following a bit more. They're like, okay, we've seen these replicas of these various craft like a million times already, because a lot of people send in replicas of the same things, like the same, you know, there's common craft to make replicas of. And I should stop giving so much time to those and give time to the more interesting, more unique, and more original things. This, of course, is still a replica, but it's a replica of something that no one's made a replica and sent it to me of before, so that's new. Also, am I managing to damage it doing this? No, I'm not. Although, it is making wheel sounds. That's... It's making wheel sounds. That's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, that's just very much amusing to me. So yes, giving that another shot. What was I saying? I was saying, okay, yes, so there's the whole thing where they're talking about replicas. One thing I want to say to this guy, I just noticed right here. Your landing gear being splayed out like that makes your craft unstable on the runway and could lead to horrible crashes. Fortunately, it didn't this time, and hopefully it won't if I go to land this without, you know, flying it horribly wrong and breaking it again, or, you know, crashing is what I meant by breaking. Of course, the crashing did break it, so it's still accurate. what's the other thing I was going to say? So yeah, there's the Kerbal X hanger, which is, like I said, how I get this craft and the next 3. And, you know, I'm really not sure whether I want to endorse continued use of that hanger or not. Because while it's like, hey, it's finally working, at the same time, the email system has been working pretty well for me. So I'm not sure. Because the thing is, if I say go to the hangers, then it's 2 things I have to keep track of instead of 1 thing. And that's something I constantly try to think about ways to reduce mental load. And, you know, I kind of... What's his name? CPG Gray. He mentioned how, oh god, one of the big things you gotta worry about is... Oh, come on, you can do it, you can pull out of it, yes! Is how there's only so much your mind can keep track of, essentially, and it's a good idea to try to reduce mental load as much as you can, like anything where you can not have to think about it as much as possible, where you can automate things or you can make things easier on yourself. It's better because it frees up your mind to do more things you care about or spend more time on the tasks that actually matter. For example, with this series, the task that I actually care about and matter is making the video, recording, doing this right now. But there's a lot of work that goes on behind it, which is, you know, like getting the links together and getting submissions and downloading them and making sure I have the right info so I can talk about it and, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, I don't want to waste all my time doing that when I could be sitting here enjoying the craft. Oh, one of your engines stalled out. One of your 4 engines that this thing totally doesn't have because it only has 1. Cough, cough. Alright. Dive down. No. Okay, yep. It's returning to stability and regain control. Yeah, so you can recover spinning out with this thing, which is pretty cool. But it does have a huge tendency to spin out, which is kind of crazy, actually. But I have a feeling it's because you have so many enabled control surfaces back here. Well, that one's not enabled, but it looks like it's only 2 control surfaces you have enabled, but those 2 are quite crazy. Actually, these are enabled too for pitch, which is probably not helping. But yeah. So there we go. The Havilland Venom 2. Yeah, he called it the Venom 2, but it's the Venom. That's weird. I don't know whether it's supposed to be Venom or Venom 2 because I see both names in multiple places here. That's interesting. How many control surfaces are in there? It's like 2 pairs of 2, I think. Aw, almost did a backflip. I tried. Oh, I sort of did, because I, like, completed it. I mean, I didn't lose control. That's good. But yeah, you have to be careful with your angle of attack on this thing, because it will just flip itself out. No, wait, I'm not going to revert it, because I'm going to try to land it. I'm going to see if the problem with displayed landing gear is bad enough on this craft to crash it on landing. So, here goes. Very gentle. Low glide slope. Coming in soft. Okay, that was a bit rough. Let me try. This thing has a very good amount of lift on it, so it's kind of hard to glide it in. Alright. There you go. Very gentle landing. There you go. Very gentle. Now we turn on the brakes. And actually this one handles it just fine. Probably because you have to come in at such a low speed that it doesn't develop too much of a problem. Or maybe because they're slightly angled outwards as well as off center. Like, I'll have to investigate that more. Next up is the lighting braking in the SPH. That's interesting. Alright, so this is upside down and is by Maverick Insane Aerospace. Maybe that's why it's upside down. Maybe he lives in Australia. That might be it. So he actually has like stats on this. This is supposed to be an experimental multi-role stealth fighter, and I'm just going to tell it to flip over and tell my computer to stop making that noise. My case does this weird thing where it'll randomly start making a noise. I've checked very carefully. It's not a component. It's not like endangering the computer, but it does just sometimes make a noise, and it's quite annoying. Anyhow, massive amounts of clipping right there. I'm going to try to ignore that. Oh, that's cool. I like how you use the small holding tank as a visual element to make the engines look cooler. And you have doubled engines in here. Although, I don't see the clipping, so you've done... Oh, it's a Weasley inside a Panther. That looks pretty good. Alright, so, this is the Miad X-38, like I said, experimental multi-role stealth fighter, height 5.2 meters, width 11.1 meters, and 17.2 meters in length. And it has an internal bay. Oh, this is, QuizTech aero parts, is it? 2-meter cargo bay. I'm guessing that's a Quiz Tech aero part. Actually, click middle mouse to show. Nope, that's not the information I was looking for. It's either Quiz Tech or it's Retro Future. Actually, it's more likely to be Retro Future because it's black, and Retro Future has a lot of black parts, like this rectangular fuel tank 4-meter tapered. That's interesting. Yeah, so this plane actually has it has BD armory. It has potentially the aviator arsenal pack. I know there's 3 planes that are fairly similar that this guy sent in, and they use some of the same mods, mostly the same mods. One of them uses those aviator arsenal, the rest don't. It also uses tweak scale, as you can tell by these right here. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it makes me think of a bit of an F-22. Actually, a lot of an F-22. I didn't realize it until just now how much this is very similar to an F-22, but it is. And it says that it could be armed with 4 AIM-9 Sidewinders or AIM-120s and 2 Mark 83 1,000-pound, excuse me, bombs. Yep. Well, it depends on what you can fit in there, of course. And of course, it has the 1 Vulcan 20mm round, 20mm rounds Vulcan cannon thingy. All right, here goes. Oh, I maybe should have looked at action groups because maybe there's an action group to close the bay there. I'm gonna get off the ground before I fire any action groups in case I do something I regret. Oh, flares, of course. Let's go ahead and pull the landing gear up. 2 is chaff. 1 I already showed is flares. Oh, it's quite a bit of flares at once. And we have 3 switches weapons, which it just comes with the Vulcan. You have to arm it otherwise yourself. And click to fire, of course. And oh, 3 and 4 are both switch weapons. Okay. 5 maybe fires. Well, fires a missile, but that's not doing anything. 6 is afterburners. 7 does nothing that I can see. 8 made it pull up. Oh, 8 enabled the AI. Oh, let's turn that back off. Nope, 8 did not do that. 7 also did not. 9 looks like it's enabled. No? Nope, it's still... I'm arming and disarming the system. But yeah, I can't figure out how to turn off the AI. I really should have looked at the action groups first. That's interesting. What is that in there? So the game crashed. That's why it's upside down right now. But yeah, here I am. I'm back here after resetting. Okay, so that's just part of the rectangular fuel tank, this little indicator here. I'm curious if that tells you something about what's in it, or like does it change color at all? No? Also, why do you have a fuel tank full of oxidizer? I mean, I guess for balancing purposes, but still, it's kind of silly. 1 Vulcan... Oh, it tells you about the armament. See, it'd be cool if you told me the action groups. It probably says... I'm just guessing now. It probably says that on the freaking Kerbalex page if I'd bothered to look at the action groups. Okay, well, I don't know about this one, but the next one in this little mini-series does have that on there. And the next one is the B variant, which has extended wings a little bit. Are those... Oh, those are struts holding it on. Yes, it has extended wings. And it says, let's see, because of its elongated wings, it is better suited for carrier landings and takeoffs, while also giving it a higher payload, external payload capacity. So you can see here it has some sidewinders by default on the outside. Same internal bay, otherwise the same craft. In fact, the bay is closed on this one, which is pretty cool. I like how it's got the targeting pod on it, and it's got, that's interesting, World War II structural bomb mount. That's cool. That actually looks really good there, too. That's cool. Oops, I forgot to toggle the wing flaps, because this time I'm actually looking at the info about the plane, and this one has wingle flaps? Wingle flaps on 5, afterburner on 6. So I'm getting a nice boost going up the thing. It's got 3 and 4 to go between previous and next weapon. Gear up. Wow, I did not mean to do that quite so crazily. Let's go ahead and turn the afterburners and flaps off again. And it's got chaff and flares, same as the last one. Yes. So, it's also got frame rate impact, because it's got a lot of parts, and my computer hates parts with the craft with a lot of parts. Still no button, yeah, there's no button for the bay, but maybe, let's see, maybe, no. I was hoping maybe that he had it set up somehow with the newest version of BD Armory, how it can kind of detect whether you're in a bomb bay or not. Maybe that was set up in some way. That said, I may not actually be running that version. I'm pretty sure I am, but I'm not 100% sure, because when Kerbal Stuff went down, that, you know, yeah, when Kerbal Stuff went down. That said, nope, I don't want to... Okay, stop targeting the things in there and target the external bay. Open the bottom. There we go. And, by the way, Kerbal Stuff, it lives, not really, but it sort of lives in spacedock.info. Spacedock.info is using the same code, and oh, I can't fire with the mouse. Okay, I thought I would be able to, but there we go. No? I can't actually fire this weapon. That's nice. That really sucks. Okay, well, we got 2 JDAMs on board. And it doesn't look like there's much room for anything else in there. Yeah, those JDAMs pretty much take up all the room. But I figured out how to open the bay at least. And next and last for today, we have the Miad 70 Hornet 2, which is carrier-capable multi-role stealth fighter, which is the production variant of the X-70B designed to replace the F-35C. Provides a higher payload capacity and better cockpit visibility than its predecessor. It is named after the F/A-18 Hornet family of fighter planes. That's a cool idea for like what this is like theoretically supposed to be replacing and all that stuff. Like I think it's a great concept how he decided to kind of play it into the real world. Like they're like, you know what, the F-35, nah, let's make something like an F/A-18 but better and keep some of the... It's a bit like an F-22 in some ways, and it's a bit like an F/A-18 in other ways, and it is the F/A-70 Hornet 2. Yes. So I imagine the center of lift and mass should be about the same as previous, and it should have about the same frame rate when I get to flying it. Speaking which of, I'm really sorry about that. Part of that is that the staging stays locked from the previous launch, which is silly. I can't unlock it. Oh, that's nice. Come on. There we go. Alright, same action groups as before, so I'm starting out with afterburners and the flaps down. And as soon as you get in the air, I'm going to turn those off. Yes, there we go. Alright. Even though that's potentially dangerous. I don't think we're going to have too much problem. I imagine this, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It has the Weasleys and the afterburners in there together. I think the primary difference is just the ECM jammers, maybe a couple other minor differences, the pylons underneath the wings, and I think that's about it. There is a chute. Oh, there's a chute on the back now as well. Alright, let's not fire that, although we could. And yeah, there we go. It's a heavy fighter. This is a very big, heavy fighter. You know that? Definitely a very big, heavy fighter. Oh, that's interesting. I just noticed how he used this adapter in an interesting way. Yep. So that's pretty much that. It's got some clippiness I don't like, but otherwise it's a very smooth design. I like that. And unfortunately my computer doesn't so much like it because of the parts count. But that said, it's quite nice, and it would look so good in sped up video and not crashing hopefully, but whoops. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in space.
100. 20, 10, 50, 50, 29, 10, 5, 10, 20. 100, 300, 300, 10, 100, 100, 200, 200. $100.